Hi guys, it's Lily here. So today, I thought it'd be fun to make a little recipe for Halloween because it is October 1st. Why not start off the season with something a little creepy? So this is just gonna be a cute little like pie kind of graham cracker recipe. So here's how it's gonna kind of look. So how we're gonna make this is it's not a graham cracker crust, it's an Oreo crust. So some people do a graham cracker crust, some people do like an actual like pie crust, or they do an Oreo crust or something like that. So we're gonna be making an Oreo crust, and then we're gonna put pudding in it, and then we're gonna make it look like a spider web. So it's gonna be so spooky. So why not just get on with this video? The things you will need will be a Oreo crust. You can make your own or you can buy one at the store. I bought one at the store. A bowl to mix with. A tool to mix with. A Jell-O pudding. I got a vanilla. It's just a brand of Jell-O, and a chocolate pudding. So let's get to it. Before you start baking, remember to put up your hair so you don't get anything in the food. And wash your hands before, because you want to have clean hands. You don't want dirty food, do you? And make sure to wash them really good. So I am going to start with my chocolate fudge pudding, and just follow the directions on the box. The directions for mine are to pour the pudding mix in, put 2 cups of milk and stir it, beat it, whisk it, whatever, and then you would let it set for 5 minutes and boom, it's done. So there are some instant made ones, or there's some that you have to boil that take a little bit longer. So let's just do this one. So I'm gonna open the box. And you will need 2 bowls. And you will need your milk or your water or whatever the ingredients in your box says. So mine says fat-free milk only because it's a fat-free pudding powder. I'm just going to use whatever milk I have. The reason why I did not include milk in with it, because I don't know what your instructions are on yours. So mine are 2 cups of milk. This is a lot of pudding. Then, next thing we're going to do is we're going to set these things off to the side, and we are going to beat it or mix it. This might take a little bit longer. Just you want it thick enough for now, and then it'll thicken up while it sits for my 5 minutes. So I will get back to you when this is done. And while that pudding is off to the side, and while it is setting and it's getting thicker, we are going to start with our Oreo crust. So you don't have to do an Oreo crust if you're not really a chocolate fan. That is totally fine. You can use a graham cracker crust, and there's really easy recipes you can find, or you can just get a pre-made one. And all you gotta do is start just by flipping the top up like this. And then after you do that, you obviously want to flap it back down, but that'll be afterwards. So this is one of the easiest recipes, and it's even just for beginners. And it's just so easy, so delicious. So now you're gonna take off the top, and then boom, you got your graham cracker crust or your Oreo crust. And actually, I think there's a recipe on here. Yes, there is a recipe on the back for it's a cheesecake instead of a pudding pie that we're making. So now that we have this open, just wait till our pudding is done, and then we will pour this in. So here we go. Our pudding is set. Give it a quick little whisk. Make sure it is fully done. You want it nice and thick. And if you're not a chocolate fan, you can always use something else. Like you can do like a strawberry pudding or a banana pudding. Or if you'd like, you can do a vanilla pudding and just put food coloring in it. The reason why I'm doing chocolate pudding is first off because I'm just going with that type of theme, and plus I want something dark for the white pudding mix or the vanilla pudding mix to go over it. So now what you're gonna do is get your pie crust. You are gonna pour that in, all of it. If it doesn't all fit, that's totally fine. Just get as much as you want in there. Fill it up. Get it all in there. There we go. And then if you want, you can get a spatula to spread it out. I'm just gonna use the whisk. Just gonna blend it in. It won't fill up to the rim all the way. That's totally fine. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this in the refrigerator for about 10 to 15 minutes because you want it a little colder. And while that's in the refrigerator, we're gonna work on our vanilla mix. Amazing, it tastes so delicious. And we gotta clean our silverware and our bowls and everything like that. Why not? The things you will need for the spiderweb pudding mix will be the Jell-O vanilla pudding. The Jell-O is just the brand. A bowl to mix in, a tool to mix with, a piping bag, piping tips, but those are optional. So the reason why the piping tip is optional is because we will be piping the spider web on it, but you don't want, like, if you're gonna get a piping tip, you want like just a normal hole, like a circled one, like probably like, yeah, just like this one, just but a little bit smaller. I will tell you the number that I'll be using once I find the one, or if you don't want to, you can obviously just cut off the tip and then boom, you can do it like that. So let's get started with the pudding mix. And by the way, the piping tip that I am using is the number 3 piping tip, a small little circle. Just follow the instructions on your pack again. I don't know if it's the same instructions or not. So my instructions are the same, so get as much as you can out of there because you could use all of it. Now just set that off to the side. Get your ingredient that you have to do for it. And if your pudding mix is a bit more on the yellow side, that is totally fine. You can either keep it that way, or you can obviously get a white food coloring, but that is a little bit harder to find, but that is okay. So then I'm going to whisk this together. Mine is a bit more on the yellow side, but that's totally fine. Just make sure you scrape all the sides there so you can get all of those chunks out. It's a little liquidy, but it'll thicken up after the 5 minutes of letting it rest. Now I have let my pudding sit for about 5 minutes, and then I did refrigerate it. If yours comes out a little chunkier than what you expected and it came out chunky like mine did, totally fine. Just sift through it. If you don't have a sifter, that's okay. Just don't even mind those bumps in there. You may have to stir in it to get it through because it is definitely thicker. Just get all those chunks out because you don't want those in. I guess you could say you're frosting because we're technically frosting with it. The pudding is all sifted through and set off to the side, and the pudding that is in the crust, I told you about 10 to 15 minutes in the refrigerator. That's totally fine if it's in longer. It's just to freeze it, or not freeze it, get it a little bit more colder. So now we're going to work on the piping bag. So remember, like I said, you do not have to use a piping tip, you just have to cut off the end. But today I'm going to be using a piping tip just to get a little bit more control. You can use a plastic bag, but I like to use a piping bag better because it's definitely stronger and it's bigger so you can fit more things in. And a little trick that I like to do for my piping bag is I get a glass, I put the piping bag in there, I just kind of shove it in there. And I open it up and put it off to the sides like that. And then, boom, you're done. So, after you have gotten that done, you're going to put the tip in there, just drop it in there, take it off of the glass, and you're going to get the tip all the way down to the bottom at the end of it. And then after that, you just put it right back into the glass because you don't want to cut the tip yet. You want to wait until you got the stuff in it, else it will leak. So the pudding is pretty much our frosting for now. There we go. Don't push the tip down too far and tight. You're going to tighten it once you get it through. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add our pudding and then we will pipe the spider web lines. Ooh. You definitely will have leftover pudding, but that's okay. You can just eat it. Whoops, having a little trouble with it. Get back to you guys in a second here. We've got our pudding. Just remember that you have to take off cut off the piping tip. And remember, do not fill your bag too high. You don't want it too high. Now I got chocolate all over me. Okay, cut off a little bit and then just push it right through. And you're done. So I got my piping bag right here. It's all cut. Next thing that you want to do is you can look up some spiderweb pictures, or you can just go ahead and freehand pipe it, but I like to watch or look at a picture and kind of just draw it on. So I'm going to look up a spider web picture. Boom. And we're done. Now we're gonna follow off of this spider web picture. Here is a spider web picture that I will do. It's a really, really easy spider web picture. Right there. So what you're supposed to do is, the circles aren't a perfect circle. It's more like bumpy. So just look one up, or you can just go free-handed. Oop, don't turn off on me. Okay, so a circle in the middle. Oof, this is awfully. Will be very runny. And this is the fun part because it's the decorating part. Everybody likes the decorating part better. And you don't need to push on it at all. It just goes right ahead for you. And then you can just put a little dollop in the middle and stop it because it gets very runny. See how much is left over? That's a lot that is left over. And then your spider web is done. So let me give you a little close-up. And there you have it, my spider web pudding. So this is how it looks. It's not the best design, only because I did do a little quicker and it was a bit runny of a pudding. But that's how it looks. I think it'll look really cool if you would like put some gummy spiders on it or something like that. And I'm sure your guys's will look better than mine. It's a really fun recipe. It's a really easy recipe for beginners. And plus, it tastes delicious. Even if it doesn't look like a spider web, it tastes delicious. But your guys's will be better than mine. But also, if you don't want to use pudding because it's too yellow, you can always use Cool Whip, like Ready Whip or something like that, or you can make your own whipped cream or something like that, or you can make a frosting to put on it. Any type of like liquidy topping on top you can do. I think mine turned out pretty good. It looks like a spider web from a far distance. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please like this video, subscribe down below, turn on that notification, and click all. And we have some more recipes coming up soon. We got some Halloween recipes, we just got some normal recipes, and I hope you guys enjoyed. And I will see you guys on the next one. Spider web out.